With a strategic position at the crossroads of Europe, Africa, the Arab world and the Maghreb region, Morocco is reshaping itself as a regional leader and business gateway to Africa. Its commitment to making growth more inclusive is now recognized across the continent. As King Mohammed VI of Morocco recently stated, Africa should learn to trust Africa. Our continent does not need assistance so much as mutually profitable partnerships. Africa needs human and social development projects much more than it needs humanitarian aid. Government has put in place development strategies for each of Morocco's key sectors, including industry, energy, transport and infrastructure, health and education. Growth is expected to consolidate at a healthy 5% for the years ahead. Morocco's success and economic growth is credited to shrewd business planning, but also on the insistence of making growth work for all parts of society. Since ascending to the throne in 1999, King Mohammed VI has sanctioned wide-ranging economic and political reforms aimed at fighting poverty and inequality while promoting economic development. Much the same way, Morocco's government now follows an agenda of reforms that will change almost every part of civic life in Morocco, including the effectiveness of public spending, the judiciary, and freedom of expression. Achieving greater cohesion between regions is part of this agenda. This is particularly important for Morocco's south. Between 2004 and 2010, a total of $1 billion has been invested in economic and social projects, raising the region's indicators for education, health and poverty reduction above the national average. A new development model backed by the King aims to double the region's GDP over the next 10 years and create 120,000 new jobs. Increasingly, Morocco is seen as a development partner for Africa's fast-growing economies. Moroccan companies are already present in more than 25 African countries through major investments, subsidiaries, and businesses in a variety of sectors. This gives Morocco an entrepreneurial advantage and makes it the natural gateway for international investors. Morocco's expanding international engagement is reflected by a rise in foreign direct investment. In recent years, Morocco has attracted an average of $3 billion annually. In the first half of 2015, foreign investments in Morocco rose to $1.32 billion, compared to $1.1 billion during the same period last year, representing a 19.6% increase. Investments are made across sectors, from industry, tourism, energy and infrastructure to financial services, technology and telecommunications. Morocco's recent focus on value-added export industries makes the country a magnet for foreign investors. Thanks to a strategy that has strengthened 6 designated sectors, the kingdom is developing into a modern, industrialized nation. This strategy, based on the National Pact for Industrial Emergence, launched in 2008, has boosted the aeronautics, agro-industry, automotive, offshoring, pharmaceuticals and textile sectors, thereby increasing exports and modernizing local industries. A new Industrial Acceleration Plan was launched last year to run from 2014 to 2020. It is planned to lead to the creation of 500,000 jobs and to increase industry's contribution to GDP from 14% to 23%. The new strategy is based on an approach of integrated value chains and the creation of synergies between big firms and SMEs. Canadian aerospace company Bombardier, a leading manufacturer of both business and commercial aircrafts, is an example of successful integration into the local business ecosystem. Construction of Bombardier's permanent facility, completed in Casablanca in September 2013, is a major endorsement of Morocco's growing aerospace industry. The creation of new ecosystems also applies to other industries, including the automotive sector, which has attracted investments from companies such as Renault, Peugeot and Ford. In 2012, Renault opened a state-of-the-art production plant in Tangier. CSA Peugeot Citroën has also revealed plans to build a $630 million Moroccan factory to begin assembling small and subcompact models by 2019. Morocco's well-connected infrastructure facilitates these developments. Modern infrastructure, such as the Tangier Med port, highways, rail and air links, and logistics zones, are now turning the country into a major transport hub for travelers and trade. Situated on the world's second busiest shipping lane, linking Asia to Europe and North America, Morocco's port traffic is expected to triple by 2030. The Tanger Med port, a modern cargo port completed less than a decade ago, anticipates this growth. A second deep-water port, Tanger Med 2, is already in preparation and will be fully operational in 2017. This will make Tanger Med port one of the largest ports in Africa, with a total capacity of 8.2 million TEU. Morocco is also planning longer and better roads and highways to link the country's interior with the coast and to drive development in the kingdom's southern regions. Morocco's national railway operator, ONCF, plays an equal part in developing the country, intending to lay 1,500 kilometers of high-speed lines in the next 3 decades. The new line will be the fastest in Africa, reducing the travel time between Casablanca and Tangier from nearly 6 hours to just over 2 hours. The anticipated cost of $2 billion will be financed through a combination of public funds and foreign loans. Casablanca's Mohammed V International Airport is also being expanded to meet the standards of a growing international and regional transport hub, while Marrakesh, Morocco's premier tourist attraction, will receive a second airport to help deal with the increase in passengers, which is expected to exceed 14 million in 2030. Significantly, these developments not only aid Morocco's integration in the global economy, but also facilitate the expansion of local industries. Morocco's soil is rich in minerals, most famously phosphate rock, sometimes referred to as Morocco's white gold. Morocco holds about 85% of the world's remaining phosphate reserves, which are used around the world in agriculture and industry. OCP, a state-owned company, has exploited and marketed the country's phosphate reserves since 1920, turning into the world's leading exporter of phosphate. Now, a major capital investment and industrial development program is set to further strengthen its position. With the global need for agricultural products to double between 2000 and 2050, the production of fertilizers becomes ever more important. Some of the biggest growth markets for OCP are today found in Africa. Aside from phosphate, the government is planning to expand mining for minerals such as silver, gold, iron, zinc, lead, copper, cobalt, and barite. Similarly ambitious plans exist for the country's booming agriculture and fishery sectors. Agriculture and agro-industry play a significant role in Morocco's economy. Combined, they contribute a total of 19% to the gross domestic product and in rural areas account for more than 70% of all jobs. Morocco's agricultural sector is the largest in the region, with top exports including fresh and processed fruits and vegetables, olive oil, spices, and nuts. To boost the sector, the government has launched a strategic development plan known as the Green Morocco Plan. By 2020, agriculture is expected to contribute $18 billion to GDP, create an additional 1.15 million jobs, and triple the income of nearly 3 million people in rural areas. The potential for higher value goods is highlighted by the success of argan oil. Traditionally made for domestic use, argan oil is today recognized globally as a gourmet food item and ingredient in high-end personal care products. Germany first developed a taste for the product after funding the first Moroccan women's cooperatives promoting the oil internationally. Large multinational companies now dominate the sector and have raised exports to more than 2,500 tons annually. By 2020, the government wants to triple this output. Morocco is also the largest producer and exporter of fish in Africa. The Alif Tis Plan, a development plan for the fisheries sector, expects to increase fish landings to 1.6 million tons annually. By modernizing the fishing industry and improving competitiveness and performance, Morocco plans to raise the value of seafood exports to more than $3.1 billion by 2020. Until recently, 90% of Morocco's energy needs were covered through energy imports. This is changing as the country develops local energy sources, particularly renewable energy sources where it has an enormous potential. The Noor Solar Power Complex in Ouarzazate in southern central Morocco, with a projected total capacity of 500 megawatts of electricity, is the first building block in the National Solar Energy Program. An equally impressive development is the Tarfaya wind farm in southwestern Morocco. Operational since December 2014, it is the biggest wind farm in Africa, with 131 turbines and a combined installed capacity of more than 300 megawatts. Morocco also emphasizes the massive introduction of natural gas as part of its energy strategy. Over the next 5 years, it will install infrastructure to make liquefied natural gas more available. While Morocco is taking measures to meet growing demand for both primary energy and electricity, this very demand is also the outcome of a successful program of nationwide electrification. Demand for electricity grows by 7 to 8% annually, driven by Morocco's expanding business sector. Morocco's information and communication technologies sector is moving toward deeper integration with the global knowledge economy. The strategic plan, Digital Morocco 2013, makes information technology a cornerstone of the economy. Morocco is already leading the way in outsourcing and offshoring. Its best-known offshoring project, the Casa Nearshore Park in Casablanca, is the result of a $341 million investment by MedSourcing, a government partner that also operates technology parks in Fez, Ujar and Rabat. The development is home to 100 businesses, including blue-chip companies such as Dell and Accenture. In 2013, IBM here created a service center to serve Moroccan and other African markets. In a separate initiative, a Moroccan digital fund has been set up to give technical and financial assistance to local technology firms. Managed by the country's 3 biggest commercial banks and the state-owned Deposit and Management Fund, the initiative underlines the role of the financial sector in the country's development. The Moroccan economy proved resilient in the global financial crisis of 2008, thanks to a carefully regulated banking sector. By aligning its institutional, legislative and regulatory framework with international best practices, Morocco's financial sector has reached a level of development that now puts it at the forefront in the region. Morocco's 3 major banks, Attijari Wafa Bank, BMCE Bank and the Banque Populaire, play a crucial role in the country's economic growth and projecting this growth across Africa. While developed countries are experiencing an economic slowdown, Africa stands out as a major source of global growth. Casablanca Finance City is a financial center that was established to act as a conduit for foreign investment. Companies setting up in the finance city value Morocco's vantage point. Other sectors look for similar criteria. International tourism, for example, has long favored Morocco over neighboring countries, not least because of the stability and unique infrastructure it offers. Morocco has become a benchmark for tourism development throughout the Mediterranean region, and the Vision 2020 strategy, announced in 2010, aims to extend this success. Ecotourism is one of the more prominent segments in this regard, but the meetings, incentives, conferences and events sector has also grown in recent years, as has medical tourism. Sports tourism is also expected to increase, particularly golf, and several ports are planned or undergoing expansion in order to attract more cruise ships. Marrakesh, Morocco's cultural jewel, with its magical souks, gardens, palaces and first-class facilities, was named the world's #1 tourist destination in 2015 by travel website TripAdvisor. Morocco's tremendous tourism potential is reflected by the presence of luxury hotel brands such as Sofitel, Four Seasons, Grace and Ritz-Carlton. The Moroccan government also invests in emerging destinations like Fez and Meknes, and in the south of Morocco, in the Dakhla region, in the Moroccan Sahara. Dakhla has become a center for fans of windsurfing and kitesurfing, as well as nature lovers visiting the Gulf of Sintra and the Bank d'Arguin, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In 2013, the Al Shafi Investment Group launched a $99 million ecotourism desert resort in Dakhla. Meanwhile, the city of Ouarzazate in south-central Morocco, known as the Door of the Desert, has been a center for filmmaking since the 1950s and recently featured in the blockbuster TV series Game of Thrones. Morocco's highly developed filming studios have positioned it competitively in the world film industry. Growth in Morocco, far from make-believe, now extends across all sectors. The country no longer depends on just a few key industries to support economic development. Morocco is set on a path of reform and development that will confirm the country's emergence as regional leader and gateway to Africa. Investors recognize Morocco's unique location and the security it offers in a region that is all too often fraught by political instability. Morocco's model of growth is a model to be followed by others in the region. Ever more competitive at the global level, Morocco is poised to complete its evolution to a truly modern economy.